Hi guys, this is Leela. Welcome to my channel Leela WebDev. In this video, we will learn about the slot concept in the Vue.js. So we already know about the props things. So components can accept the props, so which are nothing but the JavaScript values of any type. So we can send the values or the data into the components using this props thing. So for example, let's say that if you want to send any template content or HTML content or anything to the component means, then what we need to do? Sometimes we need to we have a scenario in such a way that we need to pass a template fragment or a template content, let's say HTML content, to a child component, and we need the child component to render that HTML template in that component. So in that scenarios, what we need to do is we use the slots concept. So what is this slots concept? Let's try to see it in a detail. So here, if you try to see here, I'm creating a new component, let's say slot component, so that it will be very simple for us. Slot component.view. Now here we will be having a template. Use this one on template. I'm having a template. I'll be having the template, and we'll be having the div Leela, or otherwise let's say slot, or otherwise we have a button click me. This is the button we are having. So this is our template, and let's go to the app.view, and in this app.view I will comment out this base button. Okay, and we will be having the slot component. Import the slot component from we'll be having the components. Let's say that components slash slot component dot view. So this is our slot thing. So now let's add this slot component here. Top, I am adding this slot component here. Yeah, that's it. So we have added this slot component. Let's see whether we are able to see this output. So here nothing magic is there. So we haven't did any nothing special. Just we have created a new component, and in this component we have the click me button. Fine. So for example, if I want to send this text, okay, send this text through here, through the slot. So one thing what I can say is I can send it as a props. So we can also send in such a way that in between this open and close tags, I can write the click me here. Okay, this is the click me here, and this content can be captured using a new tag here, slot. If you keep the slot here, so whatever the HTML content or whatever the text you are trying to write between the opening and the closing tags, so this one will be automatically rendered here. So this is the slot outlet, we can say it. Now if you see the output, then also we are able to see the same output. Fine. And if I will try to see, so it means slot, I will write slot here, and now you will be able to see the output slot here. So that means whatever the content we are trying to write it in the between the opening and the closing tag, we are able to see it, and in this component wherever we are trying to use this slot thing. Not only the text, we can also send the HTML content also. For example, let's say that in this between slot, I'm having a span, and I can write here style is equal to color red. I'm using something like click, and here we can have one span again, this normal one, click here. I'm using like this. So click here. So like this I'm using. Now if you try to see the content or HTML template, whatever the HTML template we are trying to write between the opening and the closing slot, we will be able to see the same output here. So red color, and also here. So this is the thing. So that means using the slot, so whatever the HTML content we want to render, we want to send it to the child component, we can use it through like this. So that is the main thing I want to tell you. And not only this one, another thing I want to tell you is that slot content also has access to the data scope of the parent component, because it is defined in the parent. What I want to tell you is that data, whatever the data you are having here, so these show counter, you can able to access it here. So I can show here something like show counter. Okay, show counter is nothing but, where is the show counter? Yeah, ref of true, or otherwise search text. I will try to use the search text. So I can use the scope of this one. So the parent thing, whatever the thing, your parent component, whatever the data you are having, you'll be able to access it here. If you try to see here, see, but the child scope, but we cannot slot content does not have the access to the child components data. So that is the main thing. Expressions in the view templates can only access the scope it is defined in. Here the expressions can only be accessed in the scope it is defined. Here the scope it is the data it is defined in the parent thing. So the whatever the parent data it is available, those only we can access it. So that is the main thing. Now the second thing which I want to tell you, which we want to discuss, is the fallback content. For example, let's say that, so this is our slot content, right? I am having another slot component. So here I will be using slot component. So this is our slot component, and here, so right now what I am trying to do is I am not mentioning any data. So here I am opening and closing, just I am opening and closing like the self closing I am using. So now what is the output? It will be displayed here. So the slot we have mentioned it here means, so the component is something expecting the HTML content or the text which was written between the opening and the closing tag. So here it will have, here it is expecting, but here in the slot component, the second declaration, so we haven't mentioned any template data. Let's see what will be the output. See here, so it is not showing any output. But in these cases, so we can also show some default content. For example, if the user doesn't mention any data or any content in between the components means, then you can tell the default data to be rendered. So how we can mention this default data is, so here you can write something like in between this open and the close slot. So you can mention default text like this. So now whenever you are whenever you are not mentioning any text data here in between the closing and open tag means, then automatically the default content what is present in the slot, it will be displayed. Or otherwise, if you have mentioned any content or anything means, automatically the data will be displayed which you have mentioned. If you try to see here, for the first one you will be able to see, click here like this, and the second one we are able to see the fallback content, that is nothing but the default text which you have mentioned in the child component. So this is called as a fallback content. So whenever you want to mention this one, so you can mention the fallback content. And the next one what I want to tell you is the named slots. So named slots is also one of the important concept. I will try to explain you in this in another video. But these are the slot things. So this is the basic introduction of the slot concept. So why we use the slots? First you need to understand that. So we can pass the JavaScript data, any data, JavaScript values using the props to the component. But if you want to pass an HTML content or anything to the components means, so then we will be using the slot concept. So you need to mention the slot attribute, tag in the child component, so that wherever you are mentioning the slot component, so sorry, slot tag, so that content will be applied or rendered automatically. And the fallback content. So if you don't if you mention anything in between the open and the closed slot means the fallback content will be added. So this is also one of the thing you need to understand. So this is the one of the important concept in the slot thing. So hope you understood about the slot concept. If you have any doubts or any suggestions, please post the comments below to this video. And if you like this video, please do support me by subscribing to my channel. Thank you.